Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I bid to doctor. My name is Nurul Afika Izzati binti Tambici. My matrix number is 190868. So today I would like to present my case study on Bluetooth remote shutter. This is for subject EEE 3522 Communication Engineering. So, what is remote shutter? As what we know, remote shutter is a device used to trigger a camera from distance. It for nowadays technology, it is not just only for camera. We can also use it for application on our smartphones. There are few types of remote shutter, which is wired and wireless. What's important is wireless shutter because it is related to our course. For wireless technology, some of them will use infrared remotes, but they are very basic because they only can trigger the camera shutter. However, the better the technology, the better the output will become. For example, for Bluetooth, some Bluetooth shutter will can control the zoom in or zoom out of the camera. That's why the better the technology, the better the output from the remote shutter can change to the camera output. So there are few advantages of remote shutter. First is allow self-portraits. This advantages is important and mainly used by solo traveler which they couldn't take photo of themselves. So by bringing the shutter and the tripod, they can have a good self-portrait. Then we can minimize the shake on camera of handphone by holding our camera and we push the shutter on the camera. Somehow it will affect the picture. Then we can shoot wildlife creatures without neglecting our personal safety. As we can see from Animal Planet, some photographers will left their camera at certain areas so that they can capture something like giraffe or zebras. Sometimes the wildlife is not okay with the human presence. That's why we have to put the camera there and we stay far away from the camera and we just trigger the shutter so that we can still get the picture without neglecting our personal safety. Okay, lastly, the shoot at the exact moment required, which means sometimes the toddler or the kids, they like to run away, they are out of focus. So by using the trigger, we can use toys to attract the kids so that they will look into the camera so we can quickly capture the moment. That's why I think remote shutter is important for our daily life. Okay, so the components needed for the shutter is transmitter, which is we get it from the circuit inside the shutter. Then we have a receiver. For my case study, this is basically on only for the phone camera, so that's why we use camera 360 application on my phone. And lastly, the power source for the shutter is 3-volt lithium battery. Okay, now we are looking for the specification for the shutter. So the communication is using the Bluetooth version 3. So the frequency needed is varying from 2.4 GHz until 2.4835 GHz. So the communication distance between the phone and the shutter is 30 feet. So the battery life long lasts for about 10 months, but it depends on how much we use it in a day. This is the technology of the remote shutter. First, we push the button to trigger the signal. Then, the transmitter will transmit the signal to the Bluetooth receiver on the handphone, and then it will trigger the shutter on the phone so that we will get the picture that we wanted. Okay, now let's moving on to the video on how this device is operated from the shutter to the handphone. Let's go. So this is the shutter. We turn on the shutter by toggle the button at the side of the shutter. So the blinking LED means that the shutter is turned on. So we then turn on the Bluetooth option on our phone. So we have to find the AB shutter tree, and then we tap on that name, and it will pair our phone and our device. So now we go to our camera, and we can use the smaller button for camera and the bigger button for the app of camera 360. As you can see, the picture is already taken just now. So they have small hole down there, so that we can put keychain or ribbon that make it easier and convenient to bring anywhere. So after using the shutter, we have to turn off the shutter as well as our Bluetooth mode on the phone to save some of our battery of both devices.
Open this one, we can see the PCB layout. This PCB is here. So this is the two push button for these two button, and then on the circuit we can see there are capacitor, there are button on and off, there are also inductor and some resistor here. So this is basically the circuit that embedded inside the shutter.